started freelancing, and I did everything wrong because that's how you learn. But somehow I managed to get a regular position, and I wrote a column called Surf's Up for a magazine called Personality that doesn't exist anymore, which was a national South African weekly publication that focused on, it was kind of a general interest, sort of a family publication, so they had a section for kids and they had a motoring section, general interest kind of family thing. I never gave up my journalism because that, for me, since I was 7 years old, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to write. I loved writing, I still love writing. I have to get up in the morning and I have to know that I have the opportunity to write something. And so I juggle. Full-time job here, but I do a lot of my freelancing in the evenings and over the weekend.
Do you think it is useful trying different things in deciding what media department is suitable for someone?
I do, and I say this as somebody who's also worked in public relations. The reason for that is I think that it can firstly make you better at what your primary focus is, and secondly it can help you to determine where you actually fit. So when I worked in public relations, I did a lot of the things that I did as a journalist, but just from the other side, I suppose from the corporation side. There was a lot of writing, there was a lot of pitching, there was presenting, there was interviewing people, there was doing all of these things that I did as a journalist, but I just did it for particular clients that needed assistance with certain things. And I realized that the skills are actually transferable. So if you're trained to be a journalist, or you're trained to be a PR, or you're trained to be a film producer, you can use a lot of the same skills across those range of disciplines. So my primary career has been print journalism. I've moved into digital, and part of that has meant starting to learn how to be a broadcast journalist.
I think the really important point about internships is that people, the thing that they really need to know about internships is almost any opportunity is a good opportunity, and everything that you do you should learn from, whether you are making the tea and observing people or whether you're getting really stuck in. Internships are absolutely invaluable because you see what's going on, and you learn more in probably a day or two of shadowing somebody or of doing a kind of internship than you do in 6 months of working for yourself as a freelancer and getting no work. You learn nothing doing that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So internships, whether I did them or not, internships are one of the most important ways now for students to get work in the media industries. So there's a bit of research that came out at the end of last year that said that something like 40% of people who get jobs in the media now have already done an internship at the company that they work with. So you can see that it becomes really important, and looking for internships and choosing them is really good, really important. Can I say one more thing about internships?
Yeah, sure.
Very often students on the degrees that they study at Coventry think that internships only happen in professional experience in between March and May of the second year. No, internships should happen all the way through the degree, and there's nothing to stop you doing internships during your holidays, during the third year and beyond. And the more you do, the more likely you are to get a really good CV, a really good show reel, and to get a job at the end of it. Right. Do more. Everything that you do, you will learn one thing that you didn't know before, and that's what you've got to do now. To be a media producer, a filmmaker, a kind of photographer, you've got to always be learning, and you've got to always kind of be remembering what you've learned and use it. So yeah, I would say that whatever internship you get, you may not want to go into radio, but you will learn something about how you talk to people. You may learn something about how you do meetings. You may learn a new skill that you think, actually, I could use that. I didn't, and you may find an interest that you never knew you had.
Given the endless career choices the media field seems to provide them with, plenty of media undergraduates struggle with deciding what they want to do in the future. Do you have any advice for them?
My advice would be not panic. I think very often students come to the degree thinking that they should know what they want to do, and all the way through the degree they keep thinking, oh, I should be specialising now, I should know what I want to do. Quite often we get people who don't know what they want to do when they graduate, and very often it can take 6-7 years before they kind of find the thing that they really do want to do. So I would say don't panic, just don't panic, and like I said a second ago, keep trying things, because you will find something that you really like and that you're really good at, and the two things that normally go together. If you like it, you normally get very good at it. Yeah, that would be my advice, don't panic.
这是将自己玩游戏的一个实况展现给大家看，让更多的人喜欢自己，或者说是让更多的人了解这款游戏，这也就是 UP 主身份一个很重要的特点吧。 当刚刚开始进入这一块行业的时候，我也是尝试过许多其他的实习岗位，包括兼职岗位。有在麦当劳那边打过工，也在肯德基打过工，各种家庭餐馆啦，还有一些其他的一些小的兼职，我都有去尝试过。然而最后发现自己，更加适合去从事一块让大家看着我的职业，应该是这么说的吧。所以说我最后去选择了进入这一块，成为一个 UP 主和成为一个在游戏行业里面相关大口的行业。
I'm a consultant in a PR agency called Instinctive Partners, and basically my job is B2B PR, so we're talking about business to business, so it's not really sort of external PR to the general public and to consumers. It's much more within the business environment. Everybody wants to do PR that is involving very high profile brands or high profile people and companies and celebrities and things like that, but that tends not to be the real bread and butter of a lot of the work that goes on. A lot of it is business to business work. So PR is more, I think, of a viable career option for more people anyway.
Yeah, that's also like it can influence your decision a lot.
Well, of course, you know, I mean, you've got to do what you like doing and what you enjoy if you possibly can, but also you've got to look at where the opportunities are, and especially if you're younger, where the long-term future lies. And the long-term future probably doesn't lie in printed newspapers. I think there'll be printed newspapers around for still a long time to come. There'll be fewer of them and they'll sell fewer copies, but I think they'll be around still for quite a while to come. Who knows, forever, but certainly, you know, you're much more likely to have a longer career, I think, if you're very good at social media and you're obviously good at writing for the web and things like that.
Do you think that this should be such a major concern for undergraduate, or do they still have enough time to make their decision?
Well, I think there's always time, because we tend to think that getting your graduate job when you've left university is like a happy ending to a story, and I don't really think that's the case, because that's really just the beginning, and many people find that in reality the first job may be not quite what they expected, but actually it's a really useful learning experience for them. So I think we need to take away that idea that you're going to make the decision and that the decision is going to be right, and just think, well, I'm embarking on a really interesting career path here. Things are going to change, okay? So you're going to change in what you enjoy and what you notice that you're really good at. And also the world is changing, so jobs change in their very nature. There'll be jobs that we don't even know about yet, that haven't yet sort of appeared. So I think it's really important to remember that, and just maybe take opportunities to develop yourself as much as you can and reflect on that, so that you're ready for opportunities when they come along.
Do you have any tips and advices for the students who are still struggling to figure it out?
Yes, I think the main thing is not to sit and wait for inspiration. I sometimes get the impression that people are hoping that some wonderful idea will come to them about what they're going to do, and that's never going to happen. So what we need to do is be really actively involved in so many ways. So one way you can do that is through the people you know. So I would say to students, have a look at your contacts. Who do you know who has a job that is quite interesting to you? Or maybe they know somebody else who's got something that they could talk to you about. And that's actually a recognised tool that people use, and that people like me often advise people to use. It's called an information interview. So you're actually making time to talk to somebody about their job and say, how did you get started? Have you got any advice for me? Where would this lead you? What do you enjoy about your job? What don't you enjoy? So if you do manage to arrange that kind of information interview with somebody, that's a really good contact that you've got. Thank them afterwards and keep them in touch with what you're doing, and who knows what that's going to lead to. So that's all part of being active, but the other part is really having time to reflect on yourself. So you need time to think about what you are particularly good at, and sometimes we don't spend enough time doing that. So think back to what your tutors may have said about you, work that you've done that you feel really proud of, any projects, or work experience and start building up a picture of what your particular strengths and skills are.